Hey there, it's Eileen. I am here today with Ivan Simental, and we are going to tell you all about what is happening in the Las Vegas real estate market. It is December, so of course, every month we give you November's numbers. So right now we are at about $430,000 for our median home price.
Okay.
And that's down from 482 back in May of this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But now, where are we at year over year?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of keep track of it on a smaller scale because things seem to happen very quickly.
Yes.
Like when our market kind of stalled a little bit in the summertime, it seemed like it happened overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So I haven't looked at those specific numbers for year over year, but I mean, that is from May to now, that's about a 10% reduction.
But the reason I ask is because some people might say, oh, the mortgage and real estate industry is crashing. Look at the 10% decline, right?
Right.
But then we also have to take into consideration the year over year. And are we now officially in the negative, right, for the growth? Or are we still in somewhat of the positive in some, even if it's like 1% or whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
People forget to look at that, where they're just like my father, for example. He's like, well, I see home prices are so down and it's going to crash and it's going to, I was like, Dad, that's not how that works. But okay, yeah, they are down. Yes, 100%.
Well, and I think so the articles that I've been looking at, I don't know if it gives a specific Vegas number, but it's like a national number. So like Forbes magazine, Fortune magazine, Redfin, Realtor.com, they're anywhere from like a 5% increase in home prices to like a negative 7%. So somewhere in that range is probably where we're going to end up landing. But it just depends on who you ask.
100%.
And what data they're looking at.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be like 2008, 2009. That's what a lot of people remember when home values dropped to what happened then. But
it was traumatic.
Yeah, it was scary. It was awful. People were like losing their jobs and homes, and it was bad. But I don't think this time it's going to be anything close to that.
Can you explain why?
So in simplest terms, people have a lot of equity in their properties.
Agreed.
And people put larger down payments. So in Vegas specifically, we had a lot of people coming from California that were putting 20, 30, 40, 50% down. Some of my clients were only financing like 20, 30% of the property.
Right.
So, and this is what I tell my friends, in the worst case scenario that prices drop or that it is, getting crazy, these people just sell their houses.
Right.
And if not, they have these super cheap mortgage payments because some of them even had 1% interest rates, 2%, 3%. It's still very affordable. So that's why it's not going to crash. That's the main reason.
And so my take on it, I mean, I agree with you 100%. But my take on it is that probably in the past year and a half, let's just say from 2020 in maybe the middle of 2020 to the beginning of 2022, maybe pushing it to summer, we gained in Vegas 45%.
That's crazy.
Equity.
Yeah.
So I could sell in that time frame, not today, but in that time frame, I could have sold my home for 45% more than what I purchased it for.
That's wild.
And so now let's just say prices have dropped 10%. That still means I can sell my home for 35% more than what I purchased it for. Yeah. So to me, that is still, if you're looking at net, you're looking at a net win. Still.
Yeah.
Today.
100%.
Even though you didn't get the height of the market, because nobody ever knows what the height of the market is until we look back at those historical numbers. But I really do still see this as a net positive market.
Yeah.
And maybe if you
I
bought
agree.
6 months ago, you don't have that 45% equity.
Yep.
But, those are people who were paying over market value because they were in bidding wars and they were relocating or whatever
they had the
story
funds
was.
to pay the 30, 40, 50,000 above the appraised value.
Right.
Because they were coming from more expensive states. One of my buyers, I remember what he said. He said, man, this is it's night and day compared to California. Like I can have land, I can have square footage, and it doesn't cost me millions of dollars. It cost me, I think his house was like $650.
Right.
On like a quarter acre of 3,500 square feet, a pool. He's like, this in California would have been like $2 million easily.
Right.
You get more bang for your buck in Vegas.
You do.
In Nevada.
You do. And it's not just, I don't think just Las Vegas. Some of they call them the Sun Belt states, so we are, because I believe I just saw an article that said that the median home price, like let's just say in LA, is like $850. Well, if it's $430 here, you can get twice as much home, twice for half the cost.
Yeah.
And so it's almost a no-brainer if that's what you can do. And I know California gets a bad rap for people moving to Vegas, everybody's moving from California. But I know that some of the people that I've talked to or sold properties to from California, they're like, yeah, we're refugees from California, which I thought was so awesome. Funny because when they come here, sometimes they get a bad rap. But I think what, in Vegas, we have to remember is that did anybody really, except for maybe my kids, your kids, was anybody actually born here? Do you know what I'm saying? There's a very small group of people who are not from other parts of the country.
Yes. Yeah.
So, we're kind of a little bit of a melting pot, I think, here.
Yes.
Yeah. So, which I think makes us a super cool place to live.
I agree. And I think it's becoming, like you said, more common, like with my kids, your kids.
Yeah.
They were actually born here. But when I first moved here, it was so strange when I would say, hey, where are you from? And they would say, oh, I'm from Vegas. You're like, what? Like you were born here? Yeah, I was born here.
Yeah.
But now it's becoming more common because we're getting these lovely people from California or the West Coast, like the actual coast, that are coming to have a more affordable cost of living.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. Especially now that more people can work remote. For me, it's a win-win.
Absolutely. All right. So what are you seeing? And then I'll share kind of what I'm seeing. So I don't know that I mentioned Ivan is a lender with Movement Mortgage. So I want to know where you think buyers are at right now. Are you seeing them still kind of paralyzed, not making a move? Are you seeing buyers coming back? What is your experience in maybe just the last, month or so?
Yeah. So I think I think it's 50-50.
Okay.
Paralyzed and also buyers that want to take advantage. Some buyers are paralyzed because they think that rates are going to drop next year, which they are projected to drop.
So they're waiting. You think they're waiting?
Yes.
Okay.
We have the people that are waiting. And then we have those that are looking to take advantage of the credits, to take advantage of their negotiating power.
When you say credits, what do you mean?
So seller credits, right?
Okay.
So let's say, for example, you are representing a buyer and the buyer says, okay, I want to buy your house and it's listed at $500,000. I want to buy your house for $500,000, but because I'm going to buy it at $500,000, I want to have a seller credit of $10,000, right? That's becoming more common now.
Yeah.
Versus the last 2 years, like you weren't getting anything at all. You weren't getting, if you wanted to keep the furniture, no way. If you wanted to ask them for $2,000 credit, no way.
No, you were buying them a puppy. You were sending them on a vacation. I mean, you were doing all of these things.
Paying for the Airbnb while they move.
Just to get your foot in the door.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I tell my clients that people wish they would have taken advantage of the low interest rates, in the 2s and the high 1s, right?
Right.
And now they're saying, well, I wish it's a buyer's market, or I wish it's more favorable for buyers, which right now it is.
Right.
And it's important that you speak to a professional because they'll guide you and educate you through the process.
Right.
But I think it's 50-50 still. You have those that are the doomsayers, and then you have those that are just taking advantage of what they can get right now. And they're asking me, what should I ask for? Honestly, ask for as much as you can right now.
Ask for everything.
Yes.
And then when they say no or only give a certain amount of things, you're still ahead. You're
100%,
still ahead of the game.
Yeah, you're in a win-win.
Yeah. So what I am seeing, and it's been really interesting because I had a huge buyer pool where everybody just stopped transacting. And then now, probably the last 3 weeks, people are just kind of peeking. They're just peeking their heads up, out of the hole and saying, I wonder what's going on here. Is this still something that we could potentially do? And here is what I'm finding. I put in 3 offers this week for one buyer. They were in multiple offer situations.
Okay.
On 2 of those. They need closing costs help.
Yeah.
So to the tune of probably like $11,000.
Okay.
Well, if we were talking a month ago, those sellers would have jumped at anything. You could have reduced the cost of the house. You could have asked for closing costs, all of these things, and the sellers would have just freely given it.
Yep.
So now when you have multiple offers that are coming in, now these buyers that I have that need closing cost assistance, their offers aren't looking that great. So now we're back to them having to put in multiple offers on multiple homes, not at the same time, but once one does not get accepted, they put another offer on a different house.
Yeah.
Just so that they're not in a multiple offer situation and that the seller will negotiate with them only.
Yeah.
So that I have not experienced in probably, I'd say maybe the last 6 months.
The last 6 months for sure.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to the people that are waiting.
Right.
Let's just say rates drop to 4%. How many people do you think are also waiting for rates to drop to 4%?
All of them.
Right? Yeah. So what's going to happen is more bidding wars again.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to pay above the list price.
Yeah.
Give them some sort of incentive to pick your offer. This is what I'm trying to make them understand. If rates drop to 4% or 4.5%, it's going to be crazy. Like all the people that are on the sideline are going to come back in and want to buy and take advantage because they didn't take advantage of 2-3% interest rates.
Well, I mean, and then too, you're not only dealing with people who are owner occupied, who are going to actually live in that home. When rates get to that percentage and they're lower again, now the investors also come back out. So, I mean, we're not even talking about every type of buyer. So right now, the people who they're kind of bidding against are owner occupied who are going to live in the property.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what I've been trying to relay as well, is that, yes, no scenario is ever going to be perfect.
Yes.
You are not going to have a perfect scenario, no matter when you buy or when you sell. So at least now take advantage if you need those closing costs, and if you don't want to pay list price, take advantage now to get those offers accepted.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
So listen, please take advantage, please.
Yeah, because I think it makes our job more difficult if people wait, because I love to promise. I don't promise, but I love to give you the hope that, yes, you are going to find this perfect property and you're going to be able to get it. Because when that doesn't happen and expectations are not met, people get very unsatisfied with the process. They get angry with the messenger. And so it really is kind of those, you have to have those hard conversations to set expectations so that people know in this market, this is what you are going to come up against. Now, in this market, you are still going to have things that you're going to come up against. They're just going to be different. So yeah, it's just educating.
That's it.
Having the conversations and not being tied to the outcome.
Yes, 100%. and really like trusting what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to help. We're not.
Right.
I think people forget that that we only get paid once the deal actually closes.
Right.
So we want to provide as much value. We want to provide as much education.
Yes.
Guidance, answer all of your questions, because if you don't get into that house, not saying that we want to only put people in houses to make money, but that's how we make our living. That's how we survive. So I need to do what is best for my clients, because I also want them to say, hey, reach out to Ivan. He really helped us and he really put us in a good situation for financial success or to build wealth.
Right.
And we have a game plan in place. So I think that people need to, like, if your doctor says, hey, Eileen, I think you need to stop eating X food, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to say, well, I don't think he has my best interests. You're like, oh, 100%, I'll stop eating that. Like, because I don't want to die, right?
I don't say 100% I will stop eating that. I'm like, really? Is it going to kill me? Like, really?
Do
no
I
chocolate?
absolutely need to stop eating sugar?
Exactly. Really? Are you sure? Did you even go to medical school? That's going to be.
So you are the clients that we, oh my goodness.
Yeah, so here I am throwing your whole theory out the window.
Don't listen to what Eileen is saying, please, guys, please.
But it is true. So if you can imagine a doctor coming to me and saying that, or you coming to me and saying, hey, Eileen, don't buy a car while you are trying to get your home loan. And I'm like, what do you mean don't buy a car? I can go buy a car. I really afford it like easily. That car. Yeah. So, I mean, everything that is said is with you attaining the goal that you have set for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, so that you can get into this home, so that you can start building wealth, so that you can start doing those things that you had put maybe on the back burner because you got beat out because you didn't have $100,000 over the asking price to put down on a property a few years ago. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, everything is for a reason.
Yes.
And yes, I do listen to my doctor. It just takes me a while.
Our clients, sometimes it takes us a while for them to listen to us.
And sometimes they lose out on a few homes. And that absolutely happens. You know, so it's, and then the other thing that I really want to mention is that you may try to get pre-approved for a loan. And you may have a lender who says, I'm sorry, but right now, you don't qualify. That is your opportunity to reach out to me, to reach out to Ivan and say, listen, this lender said no. Can you do it? Because I will tell you, each lender is kind of, I mean, you can speak to this more than I can, but each lender is kind of bound by what their company will allow them to do.
Correct.
So you resurrect deals all the time.
100%, yes.
So what is kind of the process if they have been denied from somebody that you would go through with them?
Yeah, so we're known as the rescue lender, meaning that if something's falling out of place or something is not going to close, they'll reach out to us to say, hey, can this really not close, and our client's really not going to get this house, right?
Yeah.
So the process is very simple. If you get denied, for me, it's not a no, it's a not right now, right? So we first look at all avenues that we can potentially go with your home loan, whether it's a bank statement loan, whether it's a stated income loan, a DSCR loan, whatever options we may have for your specific situation.
Yeah.
If nothing works, then we come up with a game plan. Hey, client, in 6 months, you need to do X, Y, and Z. In a year, you need to do X, Y, and Z. So that come 6 months or come a year, whatever our game plan is, then hey, I've done everything Ivan has asked me to do.
Yeah.
I've fixed my credit. I've paid off debts. I've saved for down payment and closing costs. Now I know that I'm going to be able to buy a house. So it's sort of like when you're with a trainer, right? If you listen to me, you will lose weight and you will get in shape, right? But you have to listen to what I'm telling you. You have to follow this game plan, because if you deviate and don't quit eating sugar, then it's not going to work, right? You have to follow the game plan in everything we do. We have to follow the structure that we have in place so that we can succeed. And I think that's sometimes more important, right? So I even tell clients hey, if you're thinking about buying in a year, that is great. Let's see where you're at right now.
100%. And that's not, I don't think people understand that, because they're looking for immediately. I want to do it immediately, but life happens. Things happen. There are things that could be on your credit report that you don't even know about. So in order to kind of be ready when everything falls into place, it could take a little bit of time. Yeah. But it's not that it can't happen. It's just going to take preparation.
100%. Yeah. So reach out if you guys are thinking about buying 6 months to a year, because you need to see where you stand. You need to see, maybe you might be ready right now. That doesn't mean you have to buy, but at least hey, if I stick to everything that I'm doing, I'm going to be able to buy in 6 months to a year when I'm ready, or when my lease is up, or when I get that new job, whatever your situation looks like.
Yeah, agreed. In this market, who do you think has the advantage? Do you think the buyers have the advantage, or do you think sellers have the advantage?
I think it's shifting more towards the buyer, but the seller still has an awesome opportunity, because they're still able to take advantage of the appreciation of their asset that they have, right?
Right.
So I honestly think it's a little bit of both, but more so right now buyers, because they are getting their closing costs paid for, their rates bought down, some furniture. Now they're getting the vacations. Hey, if you buy my house. So I think it's a little bit more towards the buyer, but I think sellers they still have an amazing opportunity in front of them with taking advantage of the appreciation that they've seen over the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. Yeah. So if, or should I say when, interest rates do go down, then where do you think that advantage lies?
I think, man, that's a good question. I think it'll still be more so towards the buyers, because then you still have those individuals that are going to be saying, oh no, the industry is going to crash, right? Real estate's going to crash. It's going to happen like 2008 again, which it's not. It's way different. But then I also think when that does happen, if you're not there right away to take advantage of it, then I think 6 months from when rates do drop to let's just say 5%.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have those bidding wars. You're going to have the forced appreciation, right? Yeah. Where people are paying above list price. So in the beginning, it's going to be the buyers.
Right.
And then 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road, it's going to be the sellers, because people are going to want to take advantage of these low interest rates, because they don't know what's going to happen in a year or 2 years from that time.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, and I know our shift happened, it seemed like over a 2-week time frame this summer. And I think that could potentially happen again if the interest rates get down low. It may not take months for that to happen, because if it gets down low enough, I kind of see the wave of buyers coming, into the market and flooding all these multiple offer situations and raising prices right back up again. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a quick switch if it gets down past a certain point.
100%. I'm pretty sure you have at least 10 to 15 buyers that were pre-approved.
Right.
Once interest rates started like trickling up and they say, oh, I want to wait to see if they're going to drop.
Yeah.
Those buyers are going to come back to you and say, okay, Eileen, this time I don't want to risk anything. I want to buy now. So,
right.
And at least out of all the realtors that I know, they all have this pool of borrowers that are waiting for interest rates to drop.
Right.
So as soon as you see rates in the 5s or mid 5s, I would take advantage of that.
Yeah. And my suggestion to you, if it's even on your radar that you're going to be looking to buy a home, Ivan can do a fully underwritten approval. So can you explain what that is in case people don't know, and how it could potentially set their offer in front of other offers if people aren't fully underwritten?
Yeah. So there are 3 types of pre-approvals or approvals. The first one is a pre-qualification. A pre-qualification is simply, hey, Eileen, how much money do you make? Okay, great. How does your credit look like? Okay, 700, great. How much money do you have in the bank? Okay, you have 100,000, great. So based off of that information that you've given me, you are approved for 500,000.
Okay.
That's a pre-qualification.
Yeah.
Nothing is verified. It is just verbal. You don't see any documentation. That's it.
Okay.
Then you have an actual loan approval. The loan approval is you get to see the documents, you get to see the income. We see your W-2s, pay stubs, however you're paid. We get to collect your bank statements and we take a look at you actually having the assets. We actually run your credit to make sure that you do have the 700 FICO score.
Right.
And then we run it through what's called DU or LP, the automated underwriting system. Then if that gives us an approval, awesome. That is your loan approval.
Okay.
Then we have like the Rolex of approvals where it's a fully underwritten approval. We do everything in steps 2 for the loan approval, but we take it one step further and we actually have an underwriter take a look at everything that we've done, take a look at the automated underwriting system that we've ran it through.
Yep.
And make sure that, okay, everything looks good here. They essentially dot your I's and cross your T's. And then they'll give you the stamp of approval and you're good to go. The reason why the fully underwritten approval was good in 2020 and 2021, and even in the beginning of 2022 is because we can close super fast. We just need an actual property now to order an appraisal, do the inspection, and that's really it.
So how long once you have that, I mean, typically, once you have that fully underwritten approval, how long is the process before you can close?
We can close in as little as 8 days legally. Yeah. 8 days, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is a benefit. So if you are going to be in the market, interest rates are low, you are hearing from your agent that properties are getting multiple offers, you want to have this in your back pocket because then you can fast track that closing, which is going to let those sellers know, hey, nothing is going to go wrong with this loan, because there are loans that, I mean, you get to closing the day before closing, the day of closing, and something is discovered, and now that loan cannot go through, and now you're starting back at square one looking for another buyer. So if you can get your buyers, or if as a buyer you can get a fully underwritten approval, that really is, as Ivan said, the Rolex of approvals.
Yeah, your super legit stamp of approval. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's the way to go, especially if time is of the essence.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're seeing that, like, you start getting into this and you're hearing rumblings that there's, multiple offer situations happening, this is what you want to have done. Now, that usually takes, 5 to 7 days?
No, it takes us about 24 to 48 hours. Yeah.
Okay, so how does it take 24 to 48 hours if people actually get you the stuff.
There's a caveat to that. So from the time that our borrowers send us their complete list of documents that we've requested, it takes about 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
If we have the piece by piece, and hey, I'm snail mailing this, and hey, I'm sending you a photo for this, and I'm faxing that, okay, then that could take a little bit longer. But if we have all the documents necessary, it takes us about 24 to 48 hours.
Okay, so once the documents are all there, it's 24 to 48 hours.
Exactly.
But if you're going to, I'm now going to file my taxes for last year, and you don't even have them done yet, you're not getting that. Well, you're not buying a house, for one.
We for sure know.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure that, it's not an Ivan problem. It's a whoever's getting the documents to Ivan problem.
100%.
So, I mean, it is super helpful, though, to have that kind of, in your arsenal to be able to use.
My wife is the first person that actually taught me this when I first, we started doing our finances together. She has, now that she knows what's requested for, to obtain a home loan.
Right.
She always updates our home loan, drive or our home loan file with our tax returns, the W-2s, 1099s, anything that's needed for the mortgage process or real estate process. She has it in a file. So whenever we try to buy a new house or do whatever financing wise, we just send that file over and it's all in there. So,
I'll get you Ivan's wife's number so that she can help you.
She's amazing.
Get this
she really
all
is.
together.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's genius.
Yeah,
that's genius.
Push a button and let's go. Everything's here for the pre-approval.
Well, just so you know, I just started at a lot of people's insistence actually using my electronic calendar. I was still writing everything in a paper calendar.
Oh my God, my mother-in-law does that. She just says, I just love writing. I just love that it's there physically. I can touch it. And I'm like, hey, the phone sends you like 12 reminders that you have a meeting. The calendar won't send you anything.
I know. So as I finally started getting people are like, seriously? I mean, and I had like 2 calendars. So do not be like Eileen. Be like Maddie, who has everything in a file that you can take a look at.
She really does.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is genius. So I have graduated. I'm now in whatever this century is. So I have a list of actually any other questions, things we wanted to discuss.
I think this was very informative.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about everything that's going on, really, and taking advantage of what is going on.
Yeah.
So don't wait.
Yeah. Don't wait.
Yeah. And remember, if you buy now, say your interest rate is a 6.5%, 7%. Once rates drop, you're not going to be in those bidding wars. You're not going to be stressing about trying to obtain a loan. You're going to be, hey, I already purchased my house. Now let me just refinance to the lower rate.
Yeah, and now you're in the driver's seat. So now, and you don't have to wait if those rates drop, right? There's no waiting period. So you can refi right away as soon as those interest rates drop.
Yep.
But again, when you refi, all those documents still come into play.
Yes.
Your job history comes into play. All of those things still come into play. So keep that in mind. You just can't say, I want to refi to the lower rate. But if you did go and buy 5 cars, I mean, not like anyone in my house would ever do that. But if you do that, you may not qualify now for the refi. So if that's your plan, is to keep an eye on the market so that when you have that availability to refi, you can absolutely do that.
Yep.
So rapid fire. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Okay.
Stay the same.
All right.
I do it from my own recollection. Okay. Interest rates going up or going down?
Down.
Yeah.
This is down, right?
This is down. This is down. Okay. Median home price. Do you think it's going to go up or you think it's going to go down? I say it's going to go down slightly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this isn't really an up or down question. Buyer's market, seller's market. I think we've kind of already done that. But I think today, buyer's market.
Buyer's market. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to stay informed of what's happening in the Las Vegas market with real estate, we are here every single month. And if you need to get in touch with us, we would love to chat with you and help you either get into your dream home, upgrade your home, downsize your home, whatever that looks like for you. We would love to be able to chat. So we will see you the next time.
Yes.